Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Priyadarshini Bhattacharjee, Director, South Asian Medical Students Association. We are a non-profit organization registered with the Government of India with our motto, service with conscience, knowledge with purpose. As majority of you know that we arrange health camps, international exchange programs, academic seminars, workshops for medical students. And today we present to you the first episode of our Plabinar series. We have our speakers from various countries, but before them, I would like to welcome our very special guest, Dr. Katappa Gajanan, the specialty doctor in plastic and reconstructive surgery. He's a honorary senior lecturer of Manchester University and Edge Hill University. He's also a PLAB examiner and FY2 educational teacher, RCS Ed, MRCS, OSCE course convener, BMA Northwest Regional Council Executive Member, BMA SAS Northwest Executive Member, and also the Social Secretary of Northwest BAPIO. I would also like to welcome Dr. Archishman Basu and Dr. Mehli Chatterjee from Calcutta National Medical Colleges. Please unmute yourselves and say hi, IT team. I would also like to request you to unmute Dr. Gajanan. And sir, please say hi.
Hi, Dr. Archishman here.
Hi, it's
Hello, sir.
Gajan.
Hello, sir. Welcome to our webinar.
Thank you, Priya.
We also have with us Dr. Meena Afzal Lakha and Dr. Sneha Bisht. Meena is from Pakistan, Sneha is from Nepal. We also have Dr. Turj Chakraborty from Bangladesh and Suzani Shrestha again from Nepal. They're going to talk about PLAB today. So, as you all know that PLAB is a very booming topic these days, and most of the messages that we get, by we mean some of us who are going through the journey ourselves. We get numerous messages from our juniors asking how to get along with it, when to start, when not to start. Considering that we have majority medical students here with very few interns and post-interns in this group, we'd be keeping our topic as lucid as possible and as detailed as possible so that you don't have to ask us any questions. However, we have a chat box, so if you would like to ask anything, please do so in the chat box. I'd first ask Dr. Archishman Basu to start off with IELTS, because that is how you should begin your PLAB journey. Archishman.
Well, thank you, Priyadarshini, for introducing me, and very welcome to everyone. First, we'll start with IELTS. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Archishman Basu from India, currently working with the Tata Medical Center, Kolkata. Today, I'll be giving you an overview of IELTS test. The IELTS test is basically a test which judges your English competency. Can I have the slides, please? Yes, thank you. So IELTS test, it is a primary step of the PLAB journey. It makes you eligible to sit for PLAB. Without the IELTS test, you won't be able to sit for the PLAB examination. A few days back also, it was the only option. But now there are other options like the OET coming in, which is tailor-made for the doctors. Dr. Meena is here and Dr. Sneha is here with us today. So they will be talking about the OET in details. So which test you take is totally up to you and your preference. So let's go ahead with the slides. Over to the next slide, please. So we'll deal with the outlines of IELTS this way. And here are the major topics that we'll deal with. Over to the next slide. So yes, IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System. And it basically tests your ability to communicate in English effectively. Total test time is around 2 hours, 45 minutes, excluding breaks. Over to the next slide. There are two modules basically. One is the academic module. The other one is the general training. We don't need general training for ourselves, for the medicos. We need academic for PLAB. Over to the next slide. So there's 4 parts of the IELTS test. First is listening, second is reading, third is writing, fourth one is speaking. You're marked on a band score from 0 to 9, and usually the listening, reading, and writing, those kind of tests happen on the same day. And speaking usually happens within 7 days, either before or after your LRW test is done. Okay, so our goal is to achieve more than 7.5 on an average, with at least 7 in all the aspects. So that is it. Over to the next slide, please. So yes, this is the meaning of different band scores. You just need to be a good user or more. That is it. 7, yes. Over to the next slide. So we'll start with listening. Next slide. So the listening test, in this listening test, you'll have an audio which will be played, and you'll be asked to put on your headphones, and there will be questions from that audio that you're supposed to answer. So you'll be given a question booklet and an answer sheet. So the timing will be approximately 30 minutes for the recording to play, and 10 minutes for you to transfer your answers from your question booklet to your answer sheet. Now there are 40 questions. There is 40 marks. So you get 1 mark for each question. And it is averaged on a scale of 0 to 9 to give you a band score on that. So the type of questions usually varies. You can have multiple choice questions. You can have matching. You can have plan, or whatever they can give you. Okay. So go ahead with the next slide. Yes, so broadly classifying the listening question.
Can I come in a bit, Rajesh? We are having a request for you to go a little slow.
Okay, okay, a little slow.
On the relevant topics, please.
Should I go back?
No, it's okay. You continue. If there's a question, we'll take it later on.
Sure. So there are more. The test parts are having 4 sections. The first section will be a conversation for 2 people, a conversation between 2 people. So which is based on an everyday basis. The second will be a monologue. Third will be a conversation between up to 4 people. You know, like there will be 4 people talking on a project or something like that. You have to be really very careful to catch which person is speaking what, because you'll be asked questions based on that. Then section 4, you have a monologue on an academic subject, like invention of a steam engine. Someone can go about talking the whole thing, and you'll be asked questions based on that. Okay. So next slide. Yes, these are the important tips that I've come up with. You can add your own find any. So please pay attention. The recording will be played only once. Okay. So it won't bring you any chance to go back and listen it one more time. So write answers on the booklet when you're having your headphones on, and use your pencil to write the answers on the booklet. You'll be given questions before the start of each section. Okay, so read the questions, and please understand what is asked of you. Please understand the questions so that you can really stress on the when the audio is on, you can actually listen to that more carefully. Okay, so sometimes the question mentions that give your answer in not more than 1 or 2 words. Strictly abide by those kind of things, because you end up losing a lot of marks in that as well. There's a confusion as to what to use while writing your answers, because when you write Saturday and you start with a small letter, it becomes a problem there. So the safest thing for you to do would be to answer everything in uppercase letters. Okay. So there are 10 minutes given to you, as I already do, your answers from your booklet to your answer sheet. In that time, please revise, and please don't leave any item unanswered. Okay, you don't have negative marking. So whatever you can, you mark that, you answer that. It can happen if you miss one or two answers while listening. Please don't worry about that, because that messes up the whole situation. You tend to go back and realize what I've missed out on, and mess up the whole listening part. So concentrate on the next part. Whatever is left, just let bygones be bygones. Okay. Okay. Next slide, please. Yeah, the next section we're moving on to is reading. Yes. So reading, again, you'll be given a booklet and a question paper. Your question paper will have passages. From there you have to read, and accordingly you'll have to answer. The timing for this is around 60 minutes. There are no transfer time. You normally have transfer time in listening, but you don't have it here. There are 40 items, again, 40 marks averaged out of 9. There are 3 test parts with increasing difficulty levels. The first part will have 150 words passage. The second part will have 150 word passage, and the third one will have 750 word passage. This is how it goes. Again, the type of questions will vary. It can have multiple choice questions. It can have true, false, or not given type of questions. It can have matching questions. It can have sentence completion. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, please. Yes, so it basically says that they can give you a passage out of anywhere. They can take a part of the newspaper. Basically, have to have a habit of reading newspapers, reading books, so that it helps you having the speed while you read. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So these are the few important reading tests. How you approach reading is totally up to you. Whether you go for the questions first, understand what is asked of you, and after that come back to the passage, because that helps a lot of people. And I did that. It helped me. So you don't have to read everything in detail. Actually, you have to learn a habit of skimming. When I say skimming, it actually means reading fast, so that first you've already read the question. So while you skim through, you can get an idea what to look for when you're reading. Underline in the booklet, because you are free to do that. And whatever you feel is important, you can mark that. The concept of true and false and not given has to be very clear. Like, suppose they're mentioning sun rises in the east. So we all know that it is true, but it is not mentioned in your passage. So you have to mark not given there. You can't be marking true there. So you're going wrong if you're marking true. Next, read the questions carefully. If instead of true you're writing yes, you go wrong there as well. You'll not be marked there as well. Okay, and also same here. It is logical to use uppercase letters because of I told you logical reason. Thank you. And next slide. These are the various test format and the band scores. You can just go through it while you practice. It is available on the IELTS site, so you can get it everywhere. So suppose you're getting 36 or 38 out of 40 while you practice in listening or reading, you're getting an 8 band score. So this is how you assess yourself while you practice. Okay, over to the next slide, please. Yes, the most important part, and I see many of the people writing that I got a 6.5 here, I got a 6.5 there. So it is a huge challenge, I accept. And yes, so academic writing, it's mainly consists of 2 parts, the task 1 and task 2. Basically, you have to allocate 15 to 20 minutes in task 1 and at least 40 minutes in task 2. Task 2 is worth more marks, obviously. Task 1 basically deals with graphs, pie charts, and all those kind of things. You'll be given a question and you'll have to describe the charts and bar graphs according to whatever you feel is there mentioned in the chart. Task 2 is easy. It's like an essay. but you have to be very particular about what you write. Okay, I'll discuss it in detail. Next slide, please. Yes, so as I told you, it's a huge challenge to. It is not a big deal to get stuck at 6.5. I also got stuck at 6.5, to be very honest, in my first attempt, and I thought of giving up on my lab dream altogether. But I had to, buckle myself up, and I had to prepare myself one more time, and I did it. So it is not that difficult. If I can do, everyone can do it. Next slide, please. Academic writing. So these are the few things that I found was important in my case. So I've put on these things. Do not copy phrases from question. You are not supposed to copy exactly whatever is given in the question. There is a thing called paraphrasing. You learn how to paraphrase questions. Like if you're given something in the question that this mentions sales of this company from this year to that year, you're not supposed to write exactly the same thing in your answer. So take your time, rearrange everything, and find out how differently it can be written. And do not include information not given in the graph or picture. Sometimes, people make out things and they put it in the essay just to make it look more attractive. Do not take more than 20 minutes because task 2 is worth more marks. Okay, don't waste so much time in task 1. Do not forget to leave time to check. Okay, please don't ever forget to check whatever you've written. Okay, over to the next. Yes, academic writing. This is task 2. So you have to study the question very carefully. You have to underline the key points, and you have to brainstorm the topic. By brainstorming, I mean that there must be a flow of ideas when you brainstorm, right? Like if you are given to talk on something like for suppose we have COVID-19 situation over here. So whatever comes in your mind, whatever problems we're facing now about the quarantine, whatever comes to your mind, include everything, and try to link that on. Decide on the main points. Yes, so you have to decide on the main points and supporting details. Organize points in a plan so that you don't go out of your explanation. You don't feel out of your place. Structure according to type of essay. So you have to structure your essay wisely. Go to the next slide. These are a few skills assessed, and this is to give you a general idea that you will be judged on your content, organization of ideas, accuracy, vocabulary, and grammar. Next slide. Yeah, so these are a few tips that I found was useful in my case. So I've put these things up. Practice writing and brainstorming. It does not happen this way that you'll take everything for granted and someday you'll feel like giving an IELTS test and you go there, sit for the IELTS test and your test comes out to be a past result or something like that. So you have to practice well. Don't take anything for granted, which happened in my case because I thought I was doing fairly good in writing, but I went totally wrong. I got a 6.5. So it is for you to take a lesson from that and move on. And try and incorporate 5 new vocabs in your writing every day. So you go through the dictionary, you find 3 or 5 new words every day. Try to incorporate this in your essay every day. It is better to write, as I already told you, task 2 first because it carries more marks. It will be wise to use pencil to write because once you kind of use pen, there will be a lot of scribbling and it makes the whole thing dirty. So it is wise to use pencil, okay? And use punctuations. This I used to miss out on. I used to write the whole thing. It used to be fair enough, but I used to miss out on punctuations, then uppercase letters. Like if you're writing Friday, it has to be in capital letter. If you're writing Saturday, or if you're writing some month, it has to be in capital letter. Try linking your point of views, right? If you're giving 2-3 logics, So you can just say that firstly, it can be explained that this is this. Secondly, this. So the third thing you can write moreover, or in addition to this, we also have this. So this is how it works, and you have to conclude very effectively. And you can, in the end, you can say that. In conclusion, I can say that you can discuss both part of a topic as well. So it's totally up to you. Okay, and don't ever deviate from the topic, because that makes the whole thing go wrong. Okay, you have totally created the whole thing and everything is nice, but suddenly you deviate from the topic and the whole thing is gone. So they must understand that you are totally into this topic. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Yes, obviously there is a chance. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So yes, you're in there with the chance, obviously. Next slide, please. Next part is speaking. So it mainly involves you sitting in front of an interviewer. Uh, the timing is around 11 to 14 minutes. Same thing, a face-to-face interview with an examiner. The speaking test is usually recorded. When you go over there, when you sit on a chair, the interviewer will ask your permission to put the speaker on, and that is how it is being conducted. And there are three main parts. First is the introduction and the interview. He or she will ask you uh, about your background, your family, your work. They can ask on anything they want. Okay, over to the next slide. Part two. This is individual long turn, uh, which usually is for 3 to 4 minutes. Candidate is given a task card. So the task card clearly mentions whatever you have to talk on, and the candidate is given 1 minute to prepare their talk. And they usually give you a pencil and a piece of paper so that you can write it down. And after that, they give you 1 to 2 minutes to talk on. So the examiner then asks the candidate to talk for 1 or 2 minutes on that. So what happened in my case was I was given a topic like what is your favorite furniture in your home. So I had nothing to say. I do not have much to say about that. I just told I had a chair, and it is very cozy for me to do all that. So you have to just make up stuff, all this kind of stuff. Okay. Over to the next slide. Two-way discussion. It is usually for 4 to 5 minutes. The examiner, they ask questions regarding the topic only, which was already asked in part two. So these questions give an opportunity to discuss more abstract issues and ideas. So it is basically on the same thing. So you practically need to have an habit of speaking well. If you're not speaking regularly in English, so that becomes a challenge for a lot of us. Over to the next slide. These are the skills which are normally assessed: your ability to communicate, your ability to speak at length, your ability to express. That is it. Over to the next slide. Yes, so these are the few test criteria that you are marked on: your fluency, your vocabulary range, and grammatical range and accuracy, your pronunciation. It's important. Okay. Over to the next slide. These are a few tips that I've come up with. So again, learn 5 new words every day, incorporate in speaking, get in the habit of speaking every day, speak in English, because what normally happens with us is that we don't normally speak in English, be it our workplace or be it at home. We don't speak in English normally. So try and speak in English, get a friend of yours to talk in English, improve fluency, practice random questions in front of mirror so that you know how you look while you speak, and record your answers so that you can go back and check. Speak slowly, that is more important, and use simple sentences. Oh, and one more important thing is you have to avoid saying yeah, say yes instead. Okay, say yes. Yes. Over to the next slide. How to apply? So here are a few sites that you can look out for. the British Council India and IELTS IDP, both are valid. You can go ahead and book your test if you want. Fees, it is around £140. So it varies, and the validity of IELTS is around 2 years. Next slide. These are a few useful links for you to practice your IELTS, because you need to practice before going for the test, unless it makes no sense. So here are a few links that you can try out. Help me a lot. Over to the next slide.
Thank you.
Yes, and it's totally worth of giving. I thought this to be a total explanation of our courage and confidence and everything. So yes. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you so much, Arjishmanda. We have just one query regarding IELTS. Is
Yes.
accent a criteria?
Not really. You know, it's never. It was never a criteria. If you can speak that well, and if you are making them understand whatever you're saying, it should clear. It should clear. It should not make a point. Because I have seen people who are going there with worse accents, still getting more than eight band. So it should not matter.
Right. As long as you know the correct English, you should pass. And you should pass with good
If you're
marks.
understanding whatever is asked of you, it should not create a problem there.
Right. So thank you so much. Moving